My name is C.Carriere, and you guys are about to watch the post observation meeting between the principal and the teacher. I had to do the alternative assignment where I watched the video, and this was the teacher that did the lesson seemingly with like a pre-K or kindergarten class. Um, she taught about the parts of the outer eardrum, and then students went off and had like a little answer sheet and did a project with materials she gave them, where they had a solo cup and they put foil on top and a rubber band on top of that and then beads, and made observations about what happened whenever they hit the cup in different ways. And the cup was supposed to act as the ear canal, and then the foil was the eardrum. So I watched the video, I watched it in its entirety, and then was going to arrange to meet with a friend, but unfortunately was not able to find anybody who was available to watch the video and then sit in to pretend to be the teacher. So, with that said, I have done the best that I can to sit and play both parts. I've tried to edit the video in a way where it should be pretty obvious when I am playing the principal and when I am playing the teacher, but just in case it's not, whenever I am acting as the teacher, I will have glasses on, and whenever I am the principal, I will just be like this. I hope that this is easy for you to follow. I tried to hit all the points where, I felt there was necessary conversation that could be had. And anyway, yes, with that said, enjoy. Thank you. Okay, good morning, and thanks for being here and coming down to just kind of meet and discuss your observation and what I noticed in your walkthrough. Yeah, thanks. Looking forward to get some feedback. Okay, I just want to hear from you. First of all, how do you feel that your lesson went? I'm really proud of my lesson. I feel like I put a lot of time and prep work and thought into it. But I do feel like there was some things that I would change or that I would do differently next time. I feel like overall it went really well, but I feel like a lot of the transitions could have been better. I don't know. I would love to kind of had some conversation about anything that you may have seen or noticed. But like I said, I feel like the kids responded to it really well. I think they did a good job answering the questions that I asked. But I don't feel that it was perfect. So I would love to hear any feedback that you may have. Okay, yes, I agree. I loved the lesson. I loved that you really took the time to think out a project that the kids would be engaged in and that they would relate directly to them. It was a hands-on activity, which I really loved. Before we go into the feedback part of things, I just want to know, is there anything that you would do differently next time? Is there anything that you really loved that you would repeat again? Just kind of some general thoughts that you've got. Okay, so, like I said, I really liked that I feel like the kids did well in answering the questions that I asked, and I feel like most of them had a good understanding. I feel like one of the things that I may change, I'm sure you saw in one part, I had drawn like a diagram of the outer ear and kind of how it went, and then I erased it. And whenever I referred back to it, I had forgotten that I erased it, and I feel like part of that is probably nerves on my part, but I would just try to, I feel like, make sure that I leave everything up on the board for them if I'm going to refer back to it. But one thing that I did like was I feel that, they did a good job. They were on task whenever they were actually making their eardrum. And I was proud of them for that. But like I said, overall, I think it went pretty well. You know what? That's that is totally fine. We have all been there. We have all had observations, and I do know that it can be nerve wracking to have somebody who's not usually in your classroom come and just sitting at the back and watching you teach and watching the kids. Um, so please know that that's real life. That happens, on a daily basis. That would happen if I was in there or not, and you just rolled with it. And that's what's important, is that you noticed it, you saw it, you addressed it. But then I also loved that you told the kids, like, oh, I made a mistake, like I erased it, because that also shows the kids that you're human. And I think that that is so important for the kids to know, that you are a person and you make mistakes, and then that models for them that it is okay to make mistakes. So I actually love that that happened, and I didn't think anything of it. I do agree with you though that also, whenever the kids were in the project piece and they were at their tables working and making their project, that they were on task. Most of them were doing exactly what they were supposed to do. You did a great job of walking around and helping kids, answering questions if you had them. I really loved that you got down on their level. You weren't just kind of standing and hovering over them and answering questions. You took the time to kneel down and get on their level, make eye contact with them. And I feel like you have done an excellent job about building relationships with your kids and showing them, that you care, and it's evident. And I really enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed that part of watching you teach. Thank you so much. That is something that, I strive to do. And I feel that it's necessary to have those relationships with the students, because I don't feel that you're going to be able to reach them as well if you don't, take the time to build the relationships. And I mean, I do, throughout the year, that's kind of what we've been working on. And that's one thing that I am proud of is I feel that I've done a good job about doing that. So I really appreciate that feedback. Okay, so I do want to move into kind of giving you some constructive feedback. And I want to remind you that, we're coming to this conclusion together. I just want to, go over some things that I saw. This is in no way like an aha or a gotcha type thing. These are just some things that I noticed. But like I said, the lesson was very good. So these are things that I think you could, like small changes, small adjustments, little tweaks, that you could make going forward. Nothing major. Like I said, really enjoyed being in your classroom, but I kind of want to go over them, and then we can maybe set a goal and move forward from there if that sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally open to, constructive feedback. Of course, I strive to be better, and I would love to, set some goals and try to go over some things, and then maybe the next time you come in my classroom, those are some things that you can be looking for. Perfect, great. So I want to just kind of review your walkthrough form, just some glows and grows, things that I noticed, and I know we kind of already touched on, some wonderful things that are happening in your classroom, but I want to also just review the other wonderful things that I saw in your classroom, plus just some little notes and key takeaways that I wrote. So I noticed that you were using multiple questioning strategies to guide your discussion, which is great. You were continuously checking for understanding, stopping in the lesson, making sure that the students were grasping where you were so far. And that's so important. Your materials were easily accessible and you were ready to go. You modeled one for them so they knew what to do, which is great. I also loved that your explanations were clear and concise. So students were understanding what to do whenever it got to the project piece. You were giving positive feedback. I noticed one time when you had to redirect a student and it wasn't even something big and off task. It was just a comment, and then you addressed it and then kept moving, which is wonderful. Um, you did a great job modeling for the students, and it was great. Some things that I noted about the students were I loved that they were in groups and they were able to collaborate and kind of bounce ideas off of each other. Um, I feel like I said earlier, I feel like, they have a safe learning environment. They know that with you, which is wonderful. Um, the connections, the sound waves, I loved that they were doing that, and they seemed to make the connection towards the end that, okay, the wave, connects and that's how sound vibrations work. And then they hit, your eardrum, and that's how you hear sound. Um, Most of the students were engaged and they were being respectful, from what I could hear and see, to one another and to you. So those are all wonderful things. Um, in my notes section, the first thing that I wrote down was the iPad picture. Um, it would be one of my suggestions, and I know that, technology and resources can be limited. Um, but maybe next time to have, like, maybe print it out and then have it so the whole class can see, because I noticed that some of the kids were getting up and they were walking over to the iPad, and I mean, you did a great job getting them back down and settled where they needed to be, but maybe next time, instead of having it on one screen, or we could just think of a different way to approach showing the diagram. Then I also have a smiley face because I put that you were defining the vocabulary while you were up there with them. So if you said a word that you predicted, like, oh, they're probably not going to know this, you like stated it in a different way. So you were hitting those, key vocabulary skills, which is great. Um, One thing that I would have loved to see is more of a cross curricular connection. And I know that it's a science lesson and that you were talking about the ear, but I really would have loved to see maybe some more writing implemented, or reading a story about how, the ear works first to kind of pull them in. Um, but that was one thing that I noted. Um, your voice level and how calm you speak to them is lovely. Great job on that. Um, Another thing that I noted down here was an attention getter, maybe before, like, you address them whenever they were in the whole group setting, or, excuse me, whenever they were at the tables doing their project, before you give instruction for the next piece, to kind of just gather their attention. And it can be, like, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, a clapping signal, just something so you make sure that they fully have your attention, before you move on. But again, like I said, those are the top three things that I feel that I really noticed, and none of them are, you know, detrimental to student learning or anything like that. Overall, you did a really good job. Okay, thank you. So I was over here, kind of jotting down some notes while you were going over. So as far as the iPad picture is concerned, I did notice whenever I was showing them the picture at first that they were getting up, to see, and I was kind of like, ugh, I could probably do something different that time, next time around. So I agree with you there. As far as cross curricular, they were doing, some writing, but I do feel, I see what you mean, that they could do, maybe a written response or something like that going into it next time, or even a read aloud like you suggested. It's a good idea. Um, and for an attention getter, we usually do that, but I feel like I was nervous, and so I just, was I moved on too quickly. So I absolutely, I understand, and those are things that I'll work on in my classroom. But yeah, thanks. Okay, awesome. So I want to just kind of discuss and review our vision and mission statements, because, as you know, that's something that is important, that we are, continually meeting those expectations, or attempting to meet those expectations, and that we are attempting to provide the best instruction to our students, and just constantly grow as educators, myself included. So, in our vision statement, we said that we prepare a diverse population of learners to become successful members of society who are well equipped for any college or career path that they pursue. So I feel like, you know, by doing the lesson on the eardrum and, connecting it to real life, like, you're well on your way to that. Um, our mission statement says we provide a competitive educational experience for all learners through collaboration with families, establishing meaningful relationships with all students and staff, and fostering and encouraging student individuality. Um, and I think the part that you are really nailing right now is that establishing meaningful relationships with students, because it was evident from being in your classroom, like I said, that you have spent time building those relationships, um, and providing a competitive educational experience. Like I said, like your questioning and everything, I feel like if we just continue, working together and setting goals together, that you're going to be absolutely fulfilling those things. So, yes, and I have my, vision and mission statements posted in the classroom, and um, it's something that I know that we talk about at staff development and things like that. So I know that we're constantly working towards it, and I'm really glad you mentioned the relationships, because that's something that I have been working on, and so I am glad that it is evident in my classroom teaching and classroom management. Okay, so going forward, do you have any specific goals in mind that you wanted, to set for yourself that, I could just jot down here, that we can meet in, whatever time period we deem appropriate, a few weeks, a month? Just kind of give me your thoughts on where you see yourself going. Okay, definitely. I feel like the one thing that I want to do better on is the cross curricular activities, and making sure that if I'm teaching a science lesson, I'm implementing, writing or reading more into it. Same with math, because I think that that is important. Um, I feel like, that is something that's going to take time, and maybe planning with my team or with coaches. Um, so I feel like, probably by the end of the 6 week period, would be a good time to kind of reassess. And, if I'm having trouble, or if I feel like I need some extra help, I can always reach out and ask you. So that way, we can kind of do that together. But that, I think that's probably the first thing that I want to try to tackle going forward. Yes, I was going to say the same thing. So, we have two coaches. We have our ELA and social studies coach, Tracy. And then we also have our math and science coach, Christy. And I feel like utilizing both of them, since we're wanting to do the cross curricular and integration in it, would be your best bet. I feel that Tracy could give you some good information on maybe some books to read to engage the kids and grab their attention. Maybe she could give you some short writing prompts, and ways that you could do a quick assessment with writing to see if they grasp the concept or not. Um, and she probably also has some resources that you would be welcome to borrow. And I know not for this lesson again, but maybe in the future. You could also talk to Christy and see if she has any ideas. I know that she is math and science, but, I feel like it's worth a shot, you know what I mean, to ask her. But I love that you said that, and I think that that's a really good idea. Wonderful. I can definitely set up a meeting, with both of them to try, to get some things worked out, and, maybe get a lesson, scheduled and in place so that you can come and observe again. And I don't know. I don't know if 6 weeks is too long, because I feel like maybe 4 would be better, because I feel like, I'd like to, have a lesson to teach and practice with it before you come back. But I feel like within the next 4 weeks would be a more reasonable time frame, rather than 6. Yes, we can for sure do 4 weeks. Whatever, you're comfortable with. I just want to make sure that, you feel like you have a reasonable amount of time to make whatever changes you want to make, or, tweaks and adjustments, before I come back in and observe. And I mean, like I said, I think that these are minor things. And if we take them one at a time and do quick, small pieces, and just try not to tackle everything all at once, I think that's good. I think that's a good starting place. Okay, perfect. Yes, I think 4 weeks would be good. And then, I can send you some dates maybe that will work with your calendar that you can come back to observe. And, we'll start with the cross curricular. And then once I have a good grasp on that, I feel like, we can meet again to discuss an additional goal. Like I said, I know that you had mentioned the attention getters, um, which we do, but I feel like that's something, that I need to work on as well. Just doing it consistently and every single time, that I need the kids to transition or I need to get their attention. Um, I also, the picture thing, but, and I'm glad that you said just one thing at a time because I feel like I don't want to try to put too much on my plate. So I think the cross curricular would be a good place to start. And like I said, I'll let you know too if it's necessary. Whenever I get my meeting set up with the coaches, um, and then we can go from there. And like I said, you did a wonderful job, and you know that it is my goal and my wish to have teachers who are questioning kids at a deep level and extending the activity and just building those relationships and making connections. And I feel like you did that. And cross curricular is something that's an easy fix, and that's something that you know PDs may be coming up on it too. So I really loved being in your classroom, and I feel like you just really fit into the quality kind of educators that I'd like to have here at our school. Thank you so much. That means a lot. And, I'm always looking to grow and to be better and to align with our mission and vision because I know that that's, something that is important and that we need to, we want to do as a school. So I think more professional development opportunities on cross curricular would be awesome. But I appreciate all of the praise and feedback and constructive and, just positive in general. So thanks so much. Thank you. And I look forward to coming in and watching your lesson in 4 weeks. I just wanted to kind of debrief some of the key takeaways from the lesson walkthrough. I hope that I was able to convey all the points that I wanted to make in the conversation that I had with myself as the teacher and the administrator. But um, one of the things that I wanted to just draw the most attention to was as an administrator, I feel like it is so important and so necessary to, sandwich your negative feedback in between your positives. Or if you're going to give constructive feedback or, corrections, make sure to give a thing that you noticed that went really well. I know being in the classroom as a teacher, that goes a long way with me, and you're going to want to do more for somebody who is willing to see the good and but also help you grow and to achieve where you want to go. I felt like this lesson was I did the video lesson, and I felt like this lesson was overall pretty good. I found a few things, and a few things that I found were because of my walkthrough form, or, because I wasn't actually sitting with the teacher in the classroom. But I just feel, also giving the teacher, one piece of feedback to work on at a time is so important as well because, through a lot of this coursework, we've learned like, okay, bite-sized feedback and then like set a time to go and watch and see if the teacher has implemented it. And, I did give her, I think 3 things that, I saw that we could work on, but I didn't hold her accountable, for all 3 of those. I said, okay, let's focus on one. Which one do you want to focus on? Kind of putting that ownership back on her and the ball and the teacher's court so they can kind of help guide that discussion. I also think it's important, as the administrator, to utilize resources, if that's you, if that's a team, if that's a mentor, whoever, which is why I brought the coaches into the conversation. So, like I said, I feel like overall her lesson was really good, but I did just want to kind of debrief and make sure that we hit you guys caught the key points from the conversation. So thanks for watching.